Welcome to my channel. Today, we will speak about the resurrected princess. We are the talk of the whole world today, but for other reasons. Britain is celebrating the 50th anniversary of the discovery by one of its archaeologists of Tutankhamun's tomb, and France is celebrating the 150th anniversary of the discovery by one of its young men of the Rosetta Stone. Last year, the world spoke about how the pharaohs might have crossed the seas on papyrus boats to reach America. The year before that, Soviet scientists spoke about obelisks, or semi-obelisks, from ancient Egypt being seen on the moon. And so, the questions remain. Were the pharaohs up there and then descended to us? Or did they rise from here to there? Or perhaps beings of greater reason and development once lived both here and there, before vanishing into the infinite depths of space. There will never be an end to what the world will say about the tomb of the boy king, Tutankhamun, who was just 18 years old. His tomb was saved from thieves at the last moment, when priests hurried to cover it with the sands of Upper Egypt until a British archaeologist came, lifted away the darkness, and lit up the 20th century. This young Tutankhamun has no real historical significance. His importance comes only from the fact that he possessed the most beautiful and complete coffin ever found. He married the third daughter of the prophet King Akhenaten, who renounced the worship of Amun and declared himself the prophet of the sun god Aten, worship of the solar disk, the circle of light, or simply light itself. In doing so, he became the first in history to call for belief in the one God, for monotheism. He became consumed by his new faith, abandoning the throne, his rule, his family, his 6 daughters, and even his beautiful wife, Nefertiti. His life and death became a model of how a prophet is persecuted within his own household, for even his wife was the first to disbelieve, followed by her daughters, or most of them. That is why we find her name erased or defaced in many places. Akhenaten realized that the storm unleashed within his own family would sweep the entire land. Or perhaps it was the storm from the land itself that his family turned against him. Syria was lost under his reign. He was preoccupied with himself, his God, and meeting his Lord in the afterlife. Everything in ancient Egyptian civilization was about death. People were born to die, or born to prepare for death. Death was the great festival, to be met in the most perfect body and adorned in the finest splendor. Thus, the pharaohs believed that only a sound body could enter paradise. When a person died, he had to be pure, free of flaws, his soul cleansed of all evil. Once sealed in the coffin, it was as though placed in a secure chest. If resurrection came, the soul would need food, drink, utensils, advice for the soul, and guidance for the other world. The spirit would not lose its way when reunited with the body. Priests inscribed curses on anyone who touched the coffin or body, curses like guided missiles fired across the millennia. The pharaohs had a strange mastery over words and an uncanny knowledge of the mysteries of letters. They bound hidden forces into symbols, or so it is said. And it is said also that Akhenaten chose Tutankhamun as husband for his daughter because the boy possessed an extraordinary spiritual power. At only 13 years old, this young king failed to preserve his father-in-law as faith. Neither he nor his wife upheld it. One of Akhenaten's daughters even rebelled against him, and he killed her, cutting open her belly. The priests then severed her right hand, hiding it in an unknown place in the Valley of the Kings. If this princess were to rise on Judgment Day, she would be barred from paradise, for only those with a whole, unblemished body may enter. Thus, she would remain condemned forever. Her suffering continued until 1890, when a French antiquities dealer, Count Louis Hamon, came to Egypt. He went to Luxor and met an interpreter named Abbas. He was impressed with him and said, "I want something rare." Abbas's uncle appeared 27 days later, hiding a bundle of papyrus straw. Inside was a linen wrapping. After much haggling, Count Hamon bought it. Inside he discovered the severed hand of a young princess, alongside a papyrus scroll and a stone fragment bearing her name, and also the priest's curse upon her, but the curse did not condemn anyone who merely uncovered her remains. In 1920, Count Hayman traveled to London, intending either to show the hand to archaeologists or to sell it to the British Museum. One night, he invited several practitioners of magic. The room was dark, lit only by a faint red glow like a bleeding wound. Smoke curled like a pharaonic spirit. Hayman unwrapped the linen and revealed the princess's hand. Each guest touched it, astonished that the hand was soft, warm, even dripping with fresh blood. They swore they felt it move. On November 4th, 1922, a day known to sorcerers as the day the spirits are loosed, Hayman, with nerves of steel, locked himself in a room with the hand, asking his wife to intervene only if something strange happened. He invoked the spirits, and suddenly the hand rose into the air. His wife rushed to stop it, but he motioned her away. The hand fell upon the table, which burst into a smokeless fire. The door flung open violently, and a vision of a princess in white appeared. Her right arm severed at the wrist. She bent toward the hand, joined with it, and vanished. When the smoke cleared, the hand was gone, but the table was charred black. The very same night, archaeologist Howard Carter confirmed that the tomb before him was indeed that of Tutankhamun. On February 22, 1923, Lord Carnarvon entered the tomb, followed by Carter. Not long before, Carnarvon had felt the sting of an insect bite. By April 23, 1923, he was dead in Cairo. Years later, his sister's husband committed suicide, and his stepmother died from an insect bite. Carter, however, survived, though he claimed in his last years to be tormented by nightmares of pharaohs burning him, burying him, lifting him into the air, then casting him to crocodiles. He once said he felt as if a tiny insect had crawled into his body and was suffocating him. But there was another, older curse, that of a powerful priestess who lived in Thebes around 1600 BC. She was feared for her sorcery. The archaeologist Douglas Murray brought her coffin to London, but while hunting his gun exploded, shattering his arm. He was rushed to Cairo, but strange winds delayed his ship, and by the time he arrived, his arm had to be amputated. The 2 Egyptian servants who carried the coffin died suddenly. 3 English guards also died mysteriously en route. When the ship docked in England, it carried not 1 coffin, but 4 corpses. 3 guards and the priestess. Murray swore that the priestess's eyes followed him everywhere. He gave the coffin to a wealthy lady. Her leg was broken soon after. 1 daughter committed suicide, another was abandoned by her fiancé. She quickly sold the coffin to the British Museum. The curse continued. Guards who moved it died. A scholar who studied it screamed uncontrollably before being found dead. On April 4, 1912, the world was horrified by the sinking of the Titanic. 2,000 passengers, 1,517 dead. The ship was deemed unsinkable. Warnings were ignored, and the ship sank into legend. 20 years later, a scholar revealed that the British Museum had sent the cursed coffin aboard the Titanic as a gift to the Grand Museum in New York. And now you, tell me, did the pharaohs go up to the heavens, or did they come down from there? Or was there once a time when they were both there and here? Share your thoughts in the comments, and don't forget to subscribe to catch our next video. See you next time.